Wait, what is happening to me? Is this really how my hair becomes perfect?
I want to ask that out loud, but my mouth is not on my face tonight. It is resting on my lap. My body is kneeling in the cool dirt at the foot of the sacred tree, shoulders straight, neck ending in a soft golden mist. My head is heavy and warm in my own hands. My braids spill over my thighs like dark river water while spirit hands comb and pull and weave. Once, I was just the girl they called Broomhead at the river. Now, in the daylight, they stop in the path to stare. They whisper, "Lali's hair is perfect. Some people are born blessed." They are wrong. I am not just a girl with good hair. I am a girl who pays with promises and unborn days, strand by strand. It did not start here, under the baobab, with my head in my lap. It started on an ordinary afternoon by the river in Amaoni, on the day their laughter cut deeper than any comb. Before we dive in, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. If you love high-stakes stories filled with magic, mystery, and big twists, don't just watch, join the journey. Like the video, share it with someone who loves powerful tales, and hit subscribe because our next story is extra special. You won't want to miss it. The drums of Amaoni were finally getting tired. All evening, they had spoken loudly for the village. Boom, boom, taka, taka, boom. They called children to dance, called women to laugh, called men to clap their hands and stamp their feet in the dust. Now the moon was high over the river, round and bright like a bowl of milk. The fires were low. The last dancers were going home. Only frogs and crickets kept singing beside the dark water. Far from the noise, a small clay house sat near the edge of the village. Inside, a girl lay on a mat, eyes open, heart not resting at all. Her name was Lali. Lali stared at the roof and listened to the night sounds. She could hear her mother's soft snore. She could hear the river far away. She could hear her own breath. Her hair, thick and heavy, pressed against the mat under her head. She reached up and pulled one coil between her fingers. It bounced back like a stubborn spring. "Why are you like this?" she whispered to it. "Why can't you just behave?" Lali should have been used to her hair by now. She was not a little child anymore. She was almost a woman. But some wounds in the heart do not listen to age. Tonight, the wound felt fresh again. She closed her eyes and remembered the afternoon by the river. There had been many girls there, laughing and splashing water. They sat on flat stones, combs in hand, oil in small clay pots by their feet. Some had smooth hair that fell like water. Some had short, tight curls. Some had braids hanging down their backs. Lali sat a little apart, trying to pull a comb through her thick coils. "Ow!" she hissed as the teeth caught. "Look at Lali," one girl said. Her name was Teamy, and she liked to talk loud. "She is fighting her hair again." Another girl, Kosi, laughed. "Leave that broom alone, Lali. Use it to sweep the yard instead." The others burst into giggles. Lali pretended not to hear. She focused on the comb. She tried to copy the slow, gentle movement she saw other girls use. But her hair fought back. It puffed up, refused to lie flat, and the comb got stuck again. Ouch! Lali pulled too hard. A small tear gathered in the corner of her eye. "Oh, Broomhead is crying," Teamy sang. "Maybe the wind will come and sweep her away, too." Lali looked down at the river to hide her face. Her cheeks burned. Inside, her heart felt like a small pot on a big fire. She thought of the boy who had come to the very river that morning. His name was Jala. He was not a prince or a chief's son. He was just a tall boy with kind eyes and strong arms, the kind who carried water for old people without being asked. Jala had come with a calabash of roasted groundnuts. He sat on a rock and looked at the girls. Many of them smiled. They shook their hair. They laughed loudly so he would hear. Lali did not even try. She kept her head down, comb quiet in her hand. Jala's eyes moved over the group. For one small breath, they stopped on Lali. Then they slid away to her cousin, Amina. Amina's hair was smooth and glossy. She had pulled into a neat bun with a fine cloth band. When she laughed, her hair shone. "Do you want some groundnuts?" Jala asked. Amina smiled and nodded. "Thank you." I heard Timmy whisper behind her. "You see, nobody wants broomhead when there is a smooth calabash right there." The others laughed again. Lali's heart shrank. She knew Amina was kind and did not ask for this attention. Still, the pain did not listen to reason. It sat deep in her chest, hot and heavy. Later, as they walked home, Amina tried to walk beside her. "Lali," she said gently, "don't mind them. They are just noisy." "I am not minding them," Lali said quickly, eyes fixed on the path. Amina reached out to touch her arm. "You know Jala is just—" "I said I am not minding them," Lali snapped. Her voice came out sharper than she planned. Amina's hand dropped. She walked the rest of the way quietly, a little space between them. When Lali reached home, her mother saw her face at once. My child," Mama said, dropping the bundle of firewood from her head. "Who put that storm inside your eyes?" "No one," Lali replied, stepping past into her hut. Mama followed. "But was it those river girls or that skinny McBoy?" Lali almost smiled. Her mother always called boys skinny neck as if they were all the same. "It is nothing," Lali said. She sat by the cooking pot, staring at the coals. Mama knelt beside her and wiped her cheek with a corner of her wrapper. "Talk can be small like a grain of sand," she said. "But if it enters your eye, you will know it has wheat." Lali looked at her mother's face. Mama's eyes were kind, but her hair was tied up in a quick scarf, hidden and forgotten. She never cared if it was smooth or rough. For her, hair was just hair. "Mama," Lali asked softly, "did people laugh at your hair when you were my age?" Mama thought for a moment. She said, "Some did. Some laughed at my nose, some laughed at my big laugh, some laughed at my old slippers. People always find something to use their teeth on." "And how did you feel?" Lali pressed. "I felt pain," she said simply. "Then I grew up and decided my head is not a market where everyone can come and throw words. Only the people who truly love me may speak about what hangs on it." She touched Lali's hair gently. "This hair is strong. It is stubborn. It is like you. One day you will see it as a gift." Lali looked away. "Maybe," she said, but she did not believe it. Now, lying on her mat, she thought again of the river, the laughter, the way Jala's eyes had moved from her to Amina. The pain rose up again, sharp and sore. "Hair is only hair," she repeated in her mind, trying to swallow the hurt. But another voice inside her answered, "If hair is only hair, why does it decide who people look at and who they ignore?" Outside, the night was deep. The drums were finally silent. Crickets took over the song of Amaoni. Lali sat up slowly. Her mother turned on her mat and muttered something in her sleep, then grew quiet again. Lali looked at her. "I am sorry, Mama," she whispered. "I just want them to see me." She wrapped her small shawl around her shoulders and moved to the door on quiet feet. She pushed the mat aside, then the wooden door, just enough to slip out. The air outside was cool and smelled of damp earth and river water. The moon sat high above the trees, white and full. Shadows stretched long and thin across the ground. Lali's bare feet made soft sounds on the sandy path as she walked past sleeping huts. Dogs lifted their heads, sniffed, then lay back down when they saw her face. An owl turned its round head and watched her pass. She walked until the huts grew fewer, until the village fell behind her like a low song. Ahead, tall grass waited, whispering in the night breeze. Beyond the grass, watching like a huge, dark guard, stood the old baobab. Everyone in Amaoni knew that tree. In the day, children played near it, but never too close. They threw stones at its thick trunk and ran away laughing. Women passing with water pots would greet it quickly, "I see you," as if it could answer. At night, no one went near. Elders told stories of spirits in its roots. They said the tree had listened to so many prayers, so many secrets, that it had grown a mind of its own. It could bless. It could punish. It could keep a promise longer than any human. Lali's grandmother used to say, "After dark, that tree is not a tree. It is a doorway. Doorways are not for children to open." Lali stepped through the tall grass, pushing the stalks aside. They brushed her legs and whispered around her knees. Her heart beat fast, but her feet did not stop. The baobab grew larger with every step. Its trunk rose thick and wide like a giant clay pot turned upside down. Its branches stretched out like many arms, fingers full of small leaves that trembled in the breeze. The moonlight washed over its bark, making it shine in places and hide in others. Lali stopped a few steps away and looked up. The tree looked back down at her. Of course, it had no eyes. But tonight, under that bright moon, Lali felt as if it did. She felt as if the rough lines in its bark were wrinkles of old faces, as if every knot was a watching eye, every branch a listening ear. She took a deep breath. "I know I should not be here," she said, voice small in the wide night. "But I am tired. I am tired of being the girl with broom hair. I'm tired of pretending it does not hurt." Her words floated up to the branches, then fell back down around her like soft rain. She sank to her knees at the foot of the trunk. The ground was cool and a little damp. A line of ants passed near her toes, busy with their own work. Far away, a frog called to another frog. Lali pressed both hands flat against the rough bark. If you can hear me," she whispered, feeling very foolish, "I want to make a wish." The bark felt warm under her palms as if it had been sitting in the sun all day, not in the cool night. "I wish I was beautiful," Lali said, her voice shook. "I wish my hair would listen. I wish people would see me and not look away. I wish—" Her voice cracked. Tears rose again, but this time she did not hide them. "I wish they would stay," she finished softly. "If I were beautiful, they would listen. They would stay." She pressed her forehead gently against the bark. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wind changed. It did not come from the river or the hills. It came from the tree. A soft breath seemed to move through the trunk, up into the branches, then down around her shoulders. The leaves rustled without the rest of the grass moving. The air cooled and thickened like water in a clay pot. Lali lifted her head. The lines in the bark seemed to shift. She could almost see mouth shapes, eye hollows. Fireflies gathered from the dark, small lights blinking on and off, circling her hair. A sound grew. It was not quite a voice, not quite the creak of wood. It was something between. "Child of Amaoni," it said, slow and deep. Lali's heart jumped. She almost pulled her hands away, but something held them there. Maybe courage, maybe pride. maybe pain. You come to us with a heavy heart. You come with a wish. Lali swallowed. Who are you? We are the ones who listened before you were born. We are the ones who watched your grandmother's grandmother. We live in root and bark. We live in memory. Some call us spirits. Some call us nothing. You may call us grandmothers. Grandmothers? Lali repeated, surprised. But my grandmothers are dead. Yes, the boy said. That is why we are here. The fireflies moved closer to her head, hovering near her curls. Her hair felt warm, then light, as if small hands were lifting it. You wish for beauty, the tree said. You wish for hair that shines like water and lies smooth like cloth. You wish for eyes upon you and feet that do not walk away. Lali felt shame rise in her throat. When the spirit said it like that, her wish sounded small and selfish. But it was still real. Yes, she whispered. It can be done, the grandmother said. We can teach your hair to obey. We can braid you in patterns that even chiefs will stare at. We can make them look and look and look. Lali's breath caught. Can you? Yes, the tree said. But nothing is free. Even rain pays a price when it falls. It leaves the sky to kiss the ground. That is a kind of death. What is the price? The tree was quiet for a long moment. The fireflies moved through her hair, lighting small paths. Her scalp tingled. We do not take blood or pain, the grandmother said at last. We take moments. We take small pieces of days that have not come yet. A promise here, a chance there, a path you might have walked. We turn them into power for your hair. Lali frowned. I don't understand. You are young, the tree replied. Your life is long in front of you. Like the river. There are many turns you might take. We will drink a little from that river, just a little. You will not notice at first. But your hair will shine. Your braids will be perfect. People will look. They will listen. They will stay. Lali thought of Amina's smooth hair. She thought of Jala's eyes sliding past her. She thought of Timi's cruel broom head. She also thought of her mother's words about her head not being market. Will it hurt? She asked. No, the spirit said. Not in your body. Sometimes your heart may feel something missing, but you will not know what. It will be like waking up and forgetting a small dream. Lali closed her eyes. The hurt inside her glowed hot. The wish sat on top of it, shining like a coin. I agree, she said. The wind around the tree deepened, then settled. The fireflies burst into brighter light. Then listen, the grandmother said at last. Every full moon, you will come to us. You will kneel by our roots. You will let us work. We will show you how to carry your head like a crown, then set it down without fear. We will comb. We will braid. We will whisper songs into your ears. And with each braid, a small piece of your river will be ours. Lali shivered. Carry my head? She repeated, confused. Do not fear, the spirit said. We do not kill. We only move. A warmth began at the back of her neck, soft at first, then stronger. It was not like fire. It was like warm water rising in a pot. close your eyes," the grandmother said. Lali did. The world became sound and touch. The rough bark under her hands, the cool ground at her knees, the heavy weight of her hair. Then slowly, the weight changed. Her head felt lighter, as if someone were gently lifting it from inside. Her neck tingled. She felt a strange looseness, like a tight cloth being untied. Use your hands gently, as if you are removing a heavy crown. Lali raised her hands, shaking. Her fingers touched her jaw, then slid behind her ears up to the back of her head. The warmth there buzzed like a hive of bees, but it did not hurt. She took a breath. She lifted. For one terrible moment, she thought everything would fall and the world would go black, but it did not. Her body stayed kneeling, her chest still rose and fell, her arms still held something solid. She opened her eyes. In her hands, she held herself. Her own face looked back at her, eyes closed but peaceful. Her own long lashes, her own nose, her own lips. Her hair spilled down like dark river water over her arms. Her body, without a head, still knelt at the tree. She could see her own shoulders moving with each breath. At the top of her neck was not blood, not bone. There was only a soft golden light, swirling like mist. Lali almost screamed, but her mouth was on the head in her hands, and that mouth did not open. "Do not fear," the grandmother said, their voice now all around her. "You are safe. You are held by us." Gently, as if she had practiced this all her life, Lali placed her head on her knees. The fireflies formed a small circle above it. From the bark of the baobab, shapes unfolded, hands glowing and old, with thin fingers and bangles of light. They reached for her hair. They combed. They braided. Their touch was fast and sure. Her hair slid through their fingers like silk. Each time they crossed one strand over another, they sang softly. Songs in a language Lali did not know, but somehow understood in her bones. They whispered secrets about old floods, old weddings, old wars. They spoke of roads that were never walked and names that were never given. Far away, the frogs and crickets sang on. The village slept. By the time the grandmothers finished, Lali's hair lay in perfect rows and neat curves. Beads of light held the ends. "It is done," they said. The glowing hands faded back into bark. The fireflies rose and scattered into the night. "Take up your head, child," the tree said softly. "Place it back on your shoulders. Walk home. In the morning, they will look at you with new eyes." Hands shaking, Loli lifted her head again. The golden light at her neck seemed to reach up to meet it, like two pieces of a calabash finding each other. Click. She felt whole. The night sounds rushed back to her. The cool air touched her face. Her neck felt normal again, but her hair felt different. Lighter. Neater. It did not push against her head. It sat like a crown. "Thank you," she whispered. "The river has many turns. Remember that, child." Lali stood slowly. Her legs tingled from kneeling too long. She took one last look at the wide, watching trunk. Then she turned and walked back through the tall grass, back toward the sleeping lights of Amaoni. Behind her, the old baobab stood quiet and still. But deep inside its roots, something new had begun to drink. In the morning, Amaoni woke as it always did. Roosters called from the roofs, women stepped out of their huts with water pots on their heads, children yawned and rubbed their eyes, smoke from cooking fires curled into the soft blue sky. But something was different. When Lali stepped out of her mother's hut, people turned to look. They did not look in the quick, sharp way they used to, only to laugh or whisper. They looked and stayed looking. Her hair lay in smooth, shining braids that curved like rivers across her head. Each braid sat in its place without any hair sticking out. The morning light slipped across the black strands and bounced off like water on polished stone. Mama gasped. "Lali!" Lali's heart jumped. Is it bad?" she asked, suddenly afraid. Mama walked around her slowly. "No," she said at last. It is like someone used a ruler to draw your hair. Who did this?" Lali opened her mouth, then closed it. I worked on it," she said softly. "I tried a new way." Mama stared for a few more moments, then smiled. "Well, your new way has made every other girl in Amaoni late for their work today," she said, "because they will all stand and stare." She was not wrong. As Lali walked to the river with a pot on her head, people stopped in their paths. Look at Lali's hair. See how the braids bend. I have never seen that style. Who did it for you? Tell us." Even Timmy, who had started the Broomhead name, stood with her mouth open. She said, "Lali," slowly, Did you go to the next village for this?" Lali felt a small, proud smile pulling at her lips. "No," she replied. "I did it here." Timmy touched her own hair, which now looked very ordinary beside Lali's. She said weakly, Maybe you can show me one day." Lali nodded. "Maybe," she answered. Inside, something warm rose in her chest. This warmth was not like the hurting fire from yesterday. It was lighter, sweeter. At the river, girls asked to touch her braids. Mothers pointed her out to their daughters. "See, if you take care of your hair, it can look like that." Lali wanted to say, "It is not just taking care," but she said nothing. She sat on a flat stone and washed clothes, trying to pretend that the new eyes on her did not matter so much. But they did. When she walked through the market, traders called out to her. "Lali, try this oil. It will make you shine even more." "Here, take this comb. It is carved from smooth wood." One woman, old and bent, touched Lali's head gently and whispered, "May my grandchild's hair listen like yours." By the time the sun was high, Lali's legs were tired from walking and her cheeks were tired from smiling. At home, Mama shook her head and laughed. "Who knew my girl would one day be the road that everyone walks on," she said. Lali lay on her mat that night and touched her braids. "They saw me," she whispered into the dark. "They did not look away." The grandmother's voices did not answer, but their promise sat in her mind. "We can make them look. We can make them stay." Days turned into weeks. Weeks slid into months. Every full moon, Lali slipped out of her hut and walked to the baobab. Each time the grandmothers waited. "You have come," they would say. "We are ready." By now, Lali knew how to kneel, how to lift her head gently like a gourd from a shelf, how to place it on her lap or a low branch. She knew the feeling of the golden light on her neck, the soft brush of spirit hands in her hair. Her fear had faded. The first night had been terrible, but after many moons, the strange act felt almost normal to her, like undoing a tight head wrap after a long day. Each time, the braids grew more complex, more beautiful. They bent into new shapes like paths on a map. The grandmothers added small beads and patterns that no one in Amaoni had ever seen. And each time afterwards, people praised her more. Lali's hands are a gift, women said when she braided their hair in daylight. My daughter left here plain and came back like a chief's child. Lali's should open a hair house, men joked. People will travel from other villages just to sit under her hands. Sometimes it felt like a game Lali had already won. But the grandmothers had said, nothing is free. The prize did not come all at once. It came slowly, like a river eating at its banks. One afternoon, as the sun dropped low and turned the river gold, Lali sat on her old rock by the water. Her childhood friend, a boy named Sei, came to sit beside her. They had grown up like twins, sharing yams, sharing jokes, sharing secrets. When they were small, they had sat under the mango tree and planned their futures. One day, Sei had said, "I will go to the city. I will learn to be a builder. I will make houses that do not fall when the river is angry." "And I will go with you," Lali had replied, hair wild and free. "We will open a place where people come to sing and eat and laugh. We will live in a big house and your children will run into my kitchen to steal food." They had laughed and clapped their hands in. It had felt true. Now, Sei's canoe was on the shore, loaded with the first supplies for his city journey. A rolled mat, a small pot, a carved walking stick, a bag of dried fish. "You're really going?" Lali said, looking at the items. "Yes," he replied, eyes bright. "There is a man in the city who takes boys and trains them. I wrote to him. He said I can come." Lali smiled. "So our plan will finally happen. You go first, find us a place, then I will come after. We will—" "Your plan?" he asked. "What plan?" Lali blinked. She said, "The plan we made, under the mango tree. You said you would build houses. I said I would open a place for people to sing. You remember!" Sei's eyes held no lie. To him, that promise had never been spoken. "Maybe," Lali forced a smile. "Maybe I forgot." Sei laughed and touched her shoulder. "It is fine. Amaoni needs you. The city will be too noisy for your quiet soul. I will write to you if I learn to write well." He picked up his bag. "Wish me a good journey," he said. Lali stood and hugged him. Her arms were stiff. "Good journey," she whispered. When he pushed the canoe into the water and climbed in, the river took him slowly. He waved. She waved back, but her heart did not move. It sat like a stone. When he was just a small shape on the shining water, she sank back onto the rock. Her fingers went to her hair. "Grandmothers," she whispered, looking at the full, neat braids. "What did you take?" The baobab did not answer. It stood far away, too far to hear, but she felt its roots stretch under the earth like long arms. That night, when she knelt at the baobab, she asked again. "You took my promise," she said. "You drank it. Why?" The grandmother's voice came through the bark. "We told you, child. We drink from the river of your days." A promise is a strong thing. It carries power. We needed power for your hair that week. Your braids were perfect, were they not? Lali's throat hurt. "But that was my future," she said. That was a path I might have walked." "Yes," the spirit said calmly. "Now it is a path you will not walk. There are many others." They reached out with glowing hands and began to undo her braids for the new style. "Lean forward," they said. "We will make you even more beautiful tonight." Lali obeyed, but her heart was not as light as before. The next loss came like a shadow without feet. A man came to Amaoni with a box full of combs and oils and hair ties from other places. He called himself Kade, the hair walker. "I travel from river to river," he said proudly. I have seen every style, every trick, every oil. I can make your hair dance." Women laughed and clapped. Even the elders came to sit under a tree and listen. Kadain noticed Lali at once. "You," he said, pointing. "Come here." Lali stepped forward, shy and curious. "You have hands like mine," Kadai said after she braided a small lock of someone's hair to show her skill. "Maybe better. Who taught you?" She stopped, heart jumping. I practiced a lot," she said instead. Kadai watched her carefully, then nodded. "You are special," he said. "If you ever want to travel, come with me. I will teach you all my tricks. We will open a shop in the city. People will line up." The words dropped into Lali's heart like bright stones. She smiled. She said, "I would like that." "Good," Kadai replied. "I will stay in Amaoni until the next moon. Then I leave. Think about it." For a week, Lali thought. At night, she pictured herself walking through busy city streets, braiding hair from many tribes, hearing many stories. In the day, she touched her combs and thought of what new tools she might learn to use. She smiled when she saw Kate in the market. "Have you decided?" he asked. "Almost," she answered. "I just need to talk to my mother." But she never got the chance. 2 days before the full moon, Cabe packed his box. "I must go earlier than I planned," he told the people. "I heard there is a wedding in another village. They need my hands." Lali ran after him as he walked toward the river. "You said you would stay until the next moon," she cried. "We were going to talk." Cade looked puzzled. "I said no such thing," he replied. "I only passed through places like the wind. I never promised to stay. It makes goodbyes too heavy." He lifted his box into a canoe. "Maybe we will meet again," he said, polite, but already turning his mind to new customers. Lali stood on the bank, heart pounding with a strange cold. "You promised," she whispered. But did he? In his memory, he had not. That night, the baobab was waiting. "You took that promise too," Lali said as she knelt. "You took his words and ate them." "Yes," the grandmothers answered. "You wanted your braids to look like starlight for the market day. That needed a strong drink. A man's promise is strong." Lali's hands trembled. "What else will you take?" she whispered. "We do not choose first," the spirits said calmly. "You choose. With every wish for more beauty, more praise, more eyes, you put more of your future on our roots." Time moved on. One day, Lali felt strange tiredness sink into her bones. Her legs felt weak. She had to sit more often while braiding other girls' hair. "Maybe you are working too hard," Mama said. "Maybe," Lali agreed. A healer named Baba Sun came to the village. People said he could read bodies like books. When he heard about Lali's tiredness, he asked to see her. Lali sat on a mat in his small hut. The air smelled of herbs and smoke. Baba Sun placed his hand gently on her head, then on her chest, then on her belly. He closed his eyes. After a while, he opened them and sighed softly. "You are not sick. Not in a way we can see. But your body feels as if someone is taking small pieces from it. Not meat, not blood, something else." Lali swallowed. Her tongue felt dry. "What about..." She hesitated, embarrassed. "What about children? One day, if I marry, will I..." Baba Sun's face grew sad. Your womb feels light. Not empty, but as if one name has already been taken away before it could be born. It may be harder for you one day. I cannot say more. Lali stared at him. The room felt too small. The air felt heavy. Who would take such a thing? She whispered. Baba's son shook his head. Sometimes old promises reach into new days. Be careful what you ask from things that are older than your family. That night, when the full moon rose, Lali almost did not go to the baobab. She lay on her mat, staring at the roof, just like on the first night. Her mother's soft snore filled the room, but now the thought of facing the grandmothers made her heart shake. Then she remembered the way people looked at her in the market. She remembered the girls who now lined up for her to touch their hair. She remembered the way her braids had become her shield and her pride. If I stop now, she thought, will they all turn away again? Her feet carried her out of the hut and through the tall grass. The baobab waited, black against the moon. You look troubled, child, the grandmother said as she came close. You are taking too much, Lali answered. Her voice shook. My friend's promise, the hairman's promise, even a child who is not yet here. The tree was quiet for a long time. You asked to be seen, it said at last. You asked to be beautiful. That power must come from somewhere. We do not steal, we trade, we keep the balance. But I did not know the price, Lali cried. No one ever does, the spirits replied. When a person jumps into a river, they feel only the cool water on their skin. They forget about the dry clothes left behind on the bank. That is the way of choices. Lali's eyes filled with tears. Maybe I do not want this anymore, she whispered. Maybe I want to stop. The wind around the baobab grew cold. You can stop, the grandmother said slowly, but what has been given cannot be taken back. The promises we drank are gone. The path to the city, the learning from the hairman, the one name from your womb, they are already woven into our roots. Lali's shoulders shook. She felt very small in front of the huge trunk. Then what can I do? She asked. You can choose how far to go. You can choose how much more to give. But remember, child, the higher a person climbs on a tree, the further they can fall. You are no longer just a village girl with funny hair. You are a girl whose name is moving beyond Amaoni's borders. Lali wiped her eyes. What do you mean? She asked. The grandmothers did not answer with words this time. They answered with a drum. Far away, faint but strong, a new rhythm started in Amaoni. It was not the normal dance beat. It was the rhythm for something big. The Moon Dance Festival is coming, the tree said, and with it a visitor, a prince with eyes that look deeper than faces. Your path is about to twist. The Moon Dance Festival was the brightest night Amaoni had ever seen. On the day of the festival, people hung cloths of many colors from house to house. Children painted their faces with white clay and red dye. Women wrapped their best wrappers. Men oiled their drums and tuned their flutes. The river glowed with lanterns made from gourds. The air was full of smoke, meat, and music. They say a prince is coming from the big town, Kimi told Lali, as they stood near a stall of grilled fish. They say he has many scars on his body, but does not hide them, Timi continued. They say he tells people who are not perfect. He tells chiefs, do not throw away the broken ones. Their hearts may be stronger than yours. Lali listened, surprised. A prince who likes scars? It did not fit the story she had heard as a child. Do you think he will choose a wife tonight? Timmy asked, eyes shining. Maybe he will see me, Cozy said quickly. They both laughed and began to adjust their head wraps. Lali touched her own braids. The grandmothers had worked extra hard that morning. Her hair flowed in long, shining lines, with beads at the end that clicked softly when she moved. Her ochre tunic and kente sash fit her body well. Mama had said she looked like a story. Still, under all the beauty, Lali felt uneasy. She knew how much these braids had cost. The drums changed. A deep horn blew 3 times. The prince had arrived. He did not come with a long line of gold and proud soldiers. He came with only a few guards walking beside him and one drummer who beat a simple beat. The prince's name was Aiken. He was tall, with dark brown skin and eyes that were soft but sharp at the same time. A thin scar ran from his left eyebrow to his cheek, but he did not cover it. His clothes were fine, but not too loud. A clean cream tunic with blue and gold lines at the neck, trousers, and strong sandals. When he walked, people moved aside, but he smiled at them, making small jokes, asking old women about their knees. "Is this a prince or a village uncle?" someone whispered, and people laughed. During the dancing, Aiken did not just sit on a high stool and watch. He danced too. Shoulders moving to the drum, feet stamping the dust. He made mistakes in the steps, laughed at himself, and tried again. Lali watched him from the edge of the crowd. He was not what she expected. At one point, a little boy with a twisted leg fell in front of the prince. Some people reached to pull him away, ashamed, but Aiken knelt down instead. "Are you hurt?" he asked. The boy shook his head, eyes wide. The prince grinned. "Good. Next time, warn the drum before you kick it like that." The crowd laughed. Later, Lali saw him notice a woman with a burn scar on her face. While others looked away politely, he looked straight at her and greeted her as if she were a queen. He really does see people, Lali thought. As the night went on, the drums slowed. It was time for speeches. The elders spoke first, welcoming the prince. They talked about the river, the harvest, the friendship between villages. Then Prince Aiken stepped forward. His voice was warm and clear. "People of Amaoni," he said, "I have seen your river. I have tasted your food. I have danced badly on your dust. I am happy." The crowd laughed. "In my land, we say a home is not only built from mud and sticks, it is built from faces. Tonight, I have seen many faces, some smooth, some scarred, some young, some old, all of them important." He looked around slowly. "I did not come only to dance," he said. "I also came because my advisors tell me you must begin to choose a queen. You cannot rule alone forever." A murmur ran through the crowd. Timmy stood up straighter. Cozy touched her hair nervously. Many girls fluttered their cloths. Prince Aiken raised a hand. "I do not want a queen who only looks fine in cloth," he said. "I want a queen whose heart is steady, like a drum in a storm. I want someone who will stand beside me when people are broken and say, 'Do not throw them away.'" He turned his head again, eyes moving from face to face. For a moment, Lali thought he would never look at her. She thought he would choose some tall girl with smooth hair and a loud laugh. Then his eyes stopped. On her. Lali's breath caught. He did not rush. He watched her for a long moment. In that time, Lali felt naked. She wondered if he could somehow see the secrets in her hair, the golden light at her neck, the nights at the baobab. Then he smiled, slow and sure. "Today, I saw a young woman stop children from fighting without shouting. I saw her feed an old woman before eating herself. I saw her walk through this festival as if she did not know how bright she was. He stepped forward, the crowd parting. He stopped right in front of Lali. "My name is Aiken," he said gently. "I am a prince, but I am also just a man who needs a brave friend. Will you allow me to visit your home and learn your heart? Will you let me court you to see if you can be the queen my people need?" Silence. Then the crowd burst into cries and shouts. "Lali! Our Lali! Look at her hair! Even a prince has eyes!" Lali's legs felt weak. Her mouth was dry. Somewhere in the noise, she heard Timmy gasp. She saw BC and Kem in the corner, faces like cracked pots, staring. Mama pushed off the crowd, tears in her eyes, and squeezed Lali's hand. "She say something, child," she whispered. Lali looked up at Aiken. His scar did not make him uglier. It made him real. His eyes were not fixed on her hair. They were trying to look inside her. She began, voice shaking. You may come to my home, if my mother agrees." The crowd laughed in her honesty. Mama nodded, trying not to cry. "I agree," she said loudly. Prince Aiken bowed slightly. "Then I will return," he told Lali, "not as a prince to judge you, but as a man who wishes to know you." He stepped back. The drums began again, faster now, wild with excitement. Lali's head spun. Her hair felt heavy and light at the same time. People crowded around her. "You are blessed. You will go to the palace. Remember us when you wear a crown." She smiled and nodded and tried to breathe. Inside, a tiny voice whispered, "What will the grandmothers say about this?" As the drums of Amaoni beat faster and the crowd shouted Lali's name, everyone saw only the shine. A village girl with perfect braids. A prince who chose her in front of everyone. A future that suddenly looked like golden cloth and palace doors. But the spirits watching from the roots of the old baobab know something the crowd does not. They know beauty was not free. They know promises have already been eaten. They know a prince's heart is not a small price. In part 2, we will see what the grandmothers decide when a royal life steps onto their river of payment. We will see the jealous girls who cannot stand Lali's new like. We will see what the baobab does when too many hands try to touch its power. And we will find out what Lali must choose when love, envy, and old magic all pull at her hair at the same time. If you want to see what happens next, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss part 2, and comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Once this video reaches 100 likes, we will drop part 2 of If Only They Knew What She Does in the Dark to Have Perfect Hair.